Chapter 5. That night at the supper table, I told a lie. Easier than the last one, I said, when Dad asked how the spelling test had gone today at school. He caught me off guard. I was so busy thinking about hotels and Professor Hanawati, I'd forgotten the day I should have had. Go on then, tell me, what was the hardest word in the test? Dad asked. I said the first thing that came into my head. Reincarnation. Did you get full marks? No. Which words did you get wrong? Because they're the ones you ought to be practicing, you know. It was typical. Dad wanted me to be cleverer, faster, better, and I did try, but tonight it was exhausting. I got up from the table and started clearing the dishes. Lillian, he said sharply, I'm talking to you. Oh, leave her be. She's worried about her granddad, Mum chided. I was, in ways they couldn't imagine. Well, she'd better not be slipping behind. I'll be on her teachers if she is. Dad shook out the paper. Once he'd disappeared behind it, Mum leaned towards me, whispering, I'm proud of you, Lil. You've got your granddad's spirit. Far more than I ever did. There's more to the world than spelling tests, he'd say, and he's right. Dear Mum. She was trying to be kind, but it felt like a nudge in the ribs, reminding me of my promise to Grandad. I smiled stiffly. I couldn't tell her about the jar, of course, could I? I wasn't even meant to have gone to the hospital in the first place. Times like this, I wondered what it would be like to have someone my age talk to share private secret stuff that wasn't for grown-up ears, like Tulip did. I bet with her two brothers, the lucky devil. After supper was cleared and a pot of tea made, Mum and Dad settled the stove. Every evening it was the same. We'd sit quietly, rarely speaking, though often I'd glance up to notice how sad they looked. Dad, I suppose, might be thinking about the war. As for Mum, I didn't know. Sometimes she'd have tears in her eyes. Other times she'd rest a hand on her stomach and sigh. Tonight, though, I couldn't sit quietly. Not with Professor Hanawati's letter in Grandad's just waiting to be read. Has Nefertiti been fed yet? I asked. I'll go if you like. I knew full well how hard it was to coax my parents out of their chairs once they'd settled down, and it was just the sort of little job they'd count on me to do. Good girl, Mum said. Don't be long. A short time later, I was heading down Grandad's side alley. This time I'd brought a torch, but still felt wary as I turned the corner. On the doorstep were 2 bottles of milk and 1 of cream, and Nefertiti crouched between them. The second she saw me, she stood up, purring. Glad to see you're happier tonight, miss, I said, crouching down to scratch her chin. She was probably hungry, I suppose. But when the door unlocked easily enough, I began to wonder if someone was already shifting. Now I knew about the curse and what I had to do to break it. Maybe it was a sign I was on the right track. It felt odd to go inside with no Grandad there to greet me. The hallway was so familiar. The cook's lampshade he'd never bothered to straighten, the coat stand, the stairs, the passageway leading to the shop. Made me come over all upset. Though being in the shop itself felt better, a comfort even. The room was so full of Grandad, it was like he was here with me. The shelves on every wall were crammed with books, plates, carvings, more boxes, even the alarming bits of strange face masks. The stuffed animals with glass bead eyes were all reasons why I loved coming to visit. In the bay window was Grandad's desk, messy as ever. I flicked through coal bills, newspaper clippings, a fair few of which I noticed were to do with Egypt, or more specifically, Mr. Carter. Moving a heap of notebooks aside, I found a half-eaten corned beef sandwich. A quick sniff confirmed it had been there some time, longer than Grandad had been sick. He was like me where food was concerned. It'd take something really shocking to put him off what he was eating. What looked to be Miss Dr. Hanawati's letter was underneath the sandwich. It wasn't a short one either, but a good 5 or 6 pages long and covered in stale breadcrumbs. The paper was tissue thin and a lovely unusual blue colour. I scanned it for a signature, which oddly was at the bottom of the very first page. Like most people, it was a squiggle, but I was able to recognise the H at the start of the name and the TI at the end. You know that this was what I was looking for. I sat down in the nearest chair. It felt strange to be about to read a dead man's letter, a bit eerie, a bit sad, but I was intrigued to hear what he had to say.